Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Becca, and today I wanted to talk about WGU again. And you might remember me from the very first video that I posted about WGU, where I basically talked about how I got a bachelor's degree in 6 months and if I thought it was a scam or if I'd recommend it. Well, I wanted to do like an update on that video for 2 years later, basically. So me personally, was it worth it to get my bachelor's degree from WGU in 6 months? 100% worth it. If I could go back and do it all over again, would I? 100%. I would do everything the same exact way that I did the first time. Maybe not put so much pressure on myself to finish it within that time frame. The main thing I really want to touch on is something that I get asked all of the time. Well, the first question I get asked all of the time is, did WGU help with career placement? And my answer to that is really no, but I kind of like have different reasons for that. So WGU does have an actual career site that they are in partnership with, or at least they did when I was in school there. It's been 2 years, so it could be different now. But when I was in school there, they used something called Handshake, where you could go through and look for internships for companies and jobs that were being posted, a lot of federal jobs. Truthfully, I did not have any luck with that website. Me personally, like I would get reached out to from recruiters from this website, but then I would apply and then never hear anything else back. So I think it was kind of one of those things where they were trying to make a quota of the amount of students that applied, maybe, but that's just like my personal opinion. I don't know if that's actually kind of how it is, but me personally, no luck with Handshake. So I actually, and this is what I recommend that you do as well. So I basically just Googled Fortune 500 companies. I don't recommend applying on Indeed. I've heard a lot of people talk about how Indeed is kind of not the place where people reach out to you anymore, and I could be completely wrong about that as well, but just me personally, I put tons of applications in on Indeed and never heard anything back. So a lot of people have transitioned now into LinkedIn. I do use LinkedIn, but when I personally apply to a position, I apply directly to the company website, and that is something else that I recommend that you do. So if you are looking for a company to work for that you feel like your values align with, do your research. Don't just apply for all the companies out there, because they're not all going to be a match for you, and it's also not going to be something where you might like working there. So I did a lot of research. I Googled Fortune 500 companies and I picked out the ones that I felt like aligned most with like my thoughts and goals for myself, and those are the companies that I put applications in for. I did put in a lot of applications before I got hired. So I graduated from WGU in February of 2022. So it was the very beginning of February, end of January, and I put applications in all the way up until towards the end of April when I got hired with the company that I work for now. So I recommend being patient, especially in today's economy and today with the way that the job market is. You just have to be patient, be vigilant in your process. And another question I get asked all the time is how I got a position working remotely. So I have actually had a remote job in the past. Whenever I was doing school full-time for WGU, I had a full-time job, but I worked remotely. So I don't really have any tips on how to get a remote job. If that's something that you are looking to do, I would say just try to go into a field that you know there are remote positions available. My current job title is a financial analyst. So a lot of financial analysts work remotely. It's just, if you want to go into corporate finance, the chances of you getting a job working remotely are a lot higher than like marketing and things like that. So, and I could be wrong about that too. The remote job world has really come a long way, and there are a lot more companies that accept positions remote/hybrid. So that is, you know, something else to think about. So just do your research before you start applying to these companies, because if you want a remote job and then you look at this company that you want to work for and they have no remote positions available, the chances of them letting you be remote, aside from all of their other employees, are not going to be very high. So don't go in with big expectations. Another thing that I did was I went into searching for a job, searching in entry-level positions, because you just graduated, you just got your degree. You being able to get a position that is not an entry-level position, those are big expectations. So you need to adjust your expectations, and you may be like, well, I can't afford an entry-level position, and unfortunately that may be the only thing that you can get until you gain experience in the field that you're going into. So I know a lot of entry-level positions do not pay as well as other positions, but they give you experience, so that way you can gain the experience over the year that you work there, and then maybe move to a different position with a different company to make more money. I'm going to transition into interviewing now, because I feel like this is what helped me the most. And it's good to have your profile on LinkedIn set up. I feel like me doing the research on interviewing is what helped me the most in my job search. So I had interviewed for a lot of companies, and I was not getting to the second round of interviewing. So after that happened to me, and I was like, okay, well, I must be doing something wrong in these interviews, I started doing research on YouTube to find strategies for interviewing for companies. You have to think about it in a way where you can set yourself apart from other people that may have applied. So if you and 6 other people are applying for the same position, let's say you all have the same exact resume, and we'll get to resume after this, but say that you all have the same exact resume. If you all interview in the exact same interview style and nothing sets you apart from the other people, and yet one of you said something completely different and more unique, then they're probably going to go with the person that was more unique and that was the most memorable. You have to be memorable whenever you're interviewing for a company. They're going to interview a ton of people. A way to stand out is to resonate with what they're telling you, and also be different. When they ask you why you want to work for the company, don't just give them another bullshit answer about how you need a job. Like, obviously you need a job. Everybody knows that. The interviewer knows that. You wouldn't have applied for the company if you didn't. You have to actually do the research. Go to the company's website, see what they're doing that sets them apart and that you really like. Say like you applied for an insurance company and you really like that they use biosimilar medications to make their medications more affordable for everyday people. Then you can speak on that in your interview whenever they're asking you, why do you want to work for this company? You need to have a real answer and actually have done the research to back it up. You don't just want to go into this interview and just be like, oh, well, I really like what the company stands for and the company values, and literally every other answer that everybody else has used. You need to say something that is going to set you apart to show that you actually care about the company, you actually did the research on the company, and then you may be like, Becca, I really don't care. I really just need a job. I get that. And they get that too, trust me. But in order to make you different from every other person that has applied for this position, you have to make yourself stand out. And sometimes you can even do all of that and still they don't choose you. Sometimes companies choose people for crazy reasons. Like maybe your personality, they just didn't think your personality was gonna mesh with their team. That's their loss and not yours. You have to take it as one of those things where like, hey, well, if they did hire me and like my personality really doesn't mesh with the rest of their company, then I probably would have hated it there. So try to take every opportunity and look at it like in an optimistic way, because personally, you're gonna want to work for somebody that has similar personality traits as you, at least in my opinion. The best companies that I've ever worked for are managers that are down to earth and that they really seem to care about your well-being, and they also can relate to you, not just someone that sees you as another number on a piece of paper that comes to work every day. So that's a big thing. I feel like being able to set yourself apart from other people that also interview. So the next thing I want to touch on is resume, because WGU offers resources for students for resume classes, and I took one of their resume classes, and after I used that resume to get the job that I currently have now. So it's really important that you know how to do your resume that's up to date with everything that's going on right now. I know a lot of people can use like AI to write their resumes now, which, you know, I guess maybe that makes sense, but it also, you know, doesn't give you a whole lot of personality, and that's kind of where the interview comes in. You have to like give yourself personality. I utilize WGU's resource course that they offer to students where it's basically like someone teaches you how to write a resume. If I remember right, it was like a web video of someone that they had hired to write resumes, teaching you how to write your own resume and to make it stand out and also hit all the keywords and all that stuff. So that way your resume gets pulled. And it doesn't have a lot of filler in it. It doesn't look crazy or anything like that. It's literally just super simple. I do feel like that had a lot to do with the reason why I was interviewed, because my resume was super straightforward. And one of the main YouTube channels that I utilized for interview tips was the Company's Expert. I am linking that in the description box down below, so that way anybody else that needs tips can click on that. And there was another one that I referenced as well, but I can't remember the name of the channel right now, but it was like a human resource specialist that said things that basically automatically told you if you didn't get the job, and also things to say in the interview. One of the main things I feel like was important that I said in the interview, and I felt weird saying this, but one line that I used at the end of the interview before it was closed it was something along the lines of, was there anything that I can explain more to show you how capable I am to do this job? And something like that. I can't tell you exactly what it was because I can't remember because it was 2 years ago, but it was something along the lines of that. And I feel like that in general kind of doesn't leave any room for them to be able to doubt your ability to do the job. So that was a tremendous help. And I will say, because I know this video is getting kind of long, but I just wanted to say that for me personally, going to WGU and getting a bachelor's degree, I'd had an associate's degree before that and it never did anything for me beneficial. I didn't get any really good jobs because of it. After getting my bachelor's degree from WGU, I later got a job in April of 2022 working for a Fortune 500 company and also making $20,000 more a year than I made previously before I graduated from WGU from my previous company. So 100% recommend going to WGU still to this day. I know they have done a lot of changes and with their exams and stuff like that, and people don't always still recommend them because of the difficulty in like proctored exams and things like that. But I still ride really hard for WGU. I think that going to WGU and getting my bachelor's degree was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. And my boyfriend is actually about to start a software engineering degree with WGU. So I will let you guys know how that journey goes for him. I'll probably have him like try to do a review of it afterwards because it is a newer degree program that they've added in recent years. And I feel like it's really important to touch on like how these are doing and things like that. And I will try to make another video whenever he finishes that just to tell you about his journey along the way and things that he would recommend, tips and tricks and all that stuff. And if you have not watched my WGU video and you're interested in WGU, you can check it out in the linked videos above. So I definitely recommend going to WGU though. It was a great experience for me and I wouldn't change anything about it. I am so happy with the company that I work for now. I could not be happier. I still work from home and I have a great boss and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about going to WGU and you want to know, was it worth it? Yes. It was worth it. But that's basically all I have to say. If you guys have additional questions about WGU or the journey or the process or like any of those things, even after watching my other video, please feel free to comment down below and I'll be active and respond to all of your comments. If I get enough comments and questions, I'll do a following video on that as well. But 100% make sure, so just like to go over the key points again, I do recommend WGU. I was able to get a job about a month after I graduated. So maybe like, yeah, it was about 2 months after I graduated. It took me about 2 months to find a job. I was discouraged at first because it was a long process and I felt like I kept getting rejected from all these companies, but eventually I made it to the right company and got the right interview and went through all the way because the company that I actually interviewed for had like 3 rounds of interviews. It was intense. So make sure that you are doing all of your research on the different interview styles. That's the main thing. Being able to answer all of the interview questions, writing notes, doing whatever you have to do, being able to respond quickly and coherently. That's one of my main tips for that. And then also making sure that your resume is clean and precise and up to date, and that you utilize WGU's career resources to update your resume or hire a resume writer or however you want to do it, but I highly recommend using the resources that WGU has to offer for your resume before you graduate, because I even started applying for positions in December before I graduated in February. But I feel like I should have just waited and started as soon as I graduated, because it really worked out better that way anyway. And I was just discouraged that I wasn't getting hired, but I didn't have the degree yet, so, you know. But yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you guys. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so I would love it if you could help me get there. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.